In Chapter 12 of Attempt 13 of my FE6 Meh Units Only Ironman, we track down the traitorous Etrurian noble Arcado to his hilltop fortress to finally put an end to his schemes. But Arcado decides to peace out with Byrne and leave a powerful Manakete for us to deal with instead. Our army is split into two groups, the larger of which goes to the west, while the smaller group goes to the east. These forces will largely be on their own until the end of the map, so it is mandatory to have a healer or some healing items to account for any shortcomings in combat. This map also introduces 3 new mechanics to contend with: a 20-turn timer to get access to the bonus guidance chapter, siege tomes, and status staves. In our case, there is a cleric with a sleep staff that will make units it hits be unable to act for 5 turns. There is also a shaman in a treasure vault, using a low accuracy eclipse tome that will reduce any units hit to 1 health. With an accuracy of 10 on the weapon though, it is pretty simple to have some dodgier units just completely ignore the mechanic entirely. But later on in the game, we will have to deal with more of these tomes, and those higher tier druids will have small chances to hit throughout the rest of the game. Speaking of small chances to hit, we start off by immediately having OJ take another axe to the face. Let me check something real quick. Yep, this man has always been hit by the first axe unit every chapter without fail. One might think he has a carnal desire to be split in half by big burly shirtless men. I am not one to judge, but my blood pressure is another issue entirely. That being said, there is no real danger on this first turn for him, as we have Ellen nearby and most of the army is able to assist him in his blunder. I then take the rest of the first turn to get in position to deal with the Central Force archers, as we will have to go single file down this game's rendition of Bloon's tower defense. The Eastern Front, on the other hand, is much simpler, as Boars is the star of the show once more, and will pretty much solo the area with assistance from Geese and Windy. The only real complication is the Sleep Staff Cleric in the center, trying to take our Eastern forces out of the fight. I intentionally rescue Chad for the first 3 turns to avoid him being targeted by the staff, as his turns are very important for the numerous treasures on the map, and for an eventual recruitment. And thanks to Gonzalez dodging 2 charges of the staff before finally succumbing to unconsciousness, we are able to easily get Chad positioned on turn 4. But of course, it wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't blunder in some way. I do want you all to hear me out on this one though, because the idea was good in theory, I just immediately shiny pony to something else entirely. So as we head into the narrow corridors, I use Laloum to refresh Lot so we can clear out some of the archers in the wall, and was planning to use Roy or Fur to rescue Laloum out of reach of the second archer. But during this, I realize I can relieve some pressure on us by pulling the hand axe warrior away just north of our troops using a light brand on the opposite wall. So I trade the light brand over to Fur with Roy, and completely forget to use his backup action to rescue Laloum out with him. And since I was already in the motion of helping future Tilted, I forget about present Tilted and leave Laloum in range of the archer. Laloum then has to dodge a 52% hit, and she fortunately does so, but I can feel the cosmic powers at work scheming my downfall. For now though, my dancer is alive, so I am beyond ecstatic. As we continue to make our way through the northern keep, I am able to collect several treasures with Chad and regroup our army. A cleric in the room does pester us with a sleep staff, but with over 7 turns on our timer, we can easily position Roy to fight the Manakete on the throne with our newly acquired Wyrmslayer. During this, we promote Dorothy to a sniper with actually competent stats. Good job, Dorothy. Boars holds off the larger group of reinforcements to the east, and Chad recruits Raig to the army, a shaman with pretty good stats and a Nosferatu tome. He will probably take more of a backseat as we will be recruiting our 3rd must-deploy, which is a shaman, but for now, it is nice to have another magic unit. With everything collected, we try to get some extra chip experience on the units and head into the guidance chapter. In Chapter 12X of Attempt 13 of my FE6 Meh Units Only Ironman, we enter a dreary cave with geysers that poison you, which also happens to contain the legendary Thunder Axe Armads. Unfortunately, several bandits have set up shop and are trying to steal the axe and the treasures in the cave itself, requiring us to employ Order 66 on all the occupants in the cave. This chapter is a fog of war map with a very limited unit deployment of 8 slots total, 3 of which are immediately taken by our must deploy units, as well as the loom and one of our thieves being entirely necessary to get access to all the worthwhile treasures. Our last 3 slots are easy to choose though, as Bors, Ellen, and OJ flesh out our roster. Bors because he is an unbeatable tank, Ellen for her healing and support via the torch staff, and OJ for being a slightly tankier sword unit for the heavy amount of axe units on the map. But something feels off. OJ crits the first brigand, completely circumventing his traditional face tanking methods. Surprising, but beneficial, as I can use Ellen offensively to break ground towards the thieves and steal their lockpicks, as I am surprisingly getting low on them due to no thief spawning since Chapter 6. From here, I have to split my army, with Wendy, Dorothy, and Bors going north to knock out the thief escaping that way, while the rest of the army heads east to block off thieves from taking more treasures. What is extra surprising though, is that OJ actually dodges an enemy phase brigand and crits them again. I eye this suspiciously, but am happy to get some good RNG on OJ to give us some more breathing room. I then see an opportunity to seal off the southeastern forces using OJ and Roy to kill off a Myrmidon. But the Myrmidon dodges Roy's attacks to finish him, and I am forced to heal either OJ or Roy. Roy, being the game over condition, is prioritized, but OJ should have a decent matchup on enemy phase, and with the Lord in range, the AI could still go for him over OJ. So I end the turn and brace for impact, as tragedy finally strikes.
You serious?
Whew. Ignoring the fact that OJ probably would have died to the archer anyway, let us break down this RNG real quick. Roy needed to miss on the refresh turn to make this situation happen in the first place. The Myrmidon also needed to hit all 2 56% hits on Roy and 2 66% hits on OJ. And then we had to be hit by a 14% hit from a Brigand, which I calculated 2 RN for because I'm very spiteful about it. It happens to be just over 8% true hit rate. Needless to say, I am currently wearing my namesake like a tattoo you regret after being blackout drunk. It is only a week later that I can sit back and laugh at the situation, but in my opinion, it is fair. Laloom survived last chapter due to good RNG, so I have to take the good with the bad, and we say c'est la vie to our first unit of Attempt 13. Sweet dreams, OJ. May you embrace every axe head to the face, and farewell. Afterwards, we systemically deal with all the enemies and thieves hidden throughout the map, including an Eclipse Tome Druid near the center of the map. We only lose out on a couple elixirs and antitoxins while retrieving more lockpicks, a red gem, and a white gem, before encountering the boss Berserker, guarded by a Devil Axe Brigand and Killing Edge Myrmidon, who have defensive AI. Did somebody order more cheese? Bors then takes the initiative in attacking the boss with a hand axe before I realize how little damage the boss could actually do to him, even with a killer axe. So I ditch the safety of ranged attacks and have Bors use his own killer axe to two-shot the boss. With that, we close out the map and obtain the Thunder Axe Armads, as we grieve the loss of our young mercenary friend.